Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy. Today we're going to be talking about mailing lists. So mailing lists are one of the most important and one of the most foundational marketing channels that authors tend to employ. Most authors have a mailing list. Now, email might already seem like somewhat of an old-fashioned way to communicate with people, but it's also the most direct way to get news about your book in front of your readers. It's also more personal and more direct than a social media post. So mailing lists are a relatively inexpensive tool and also a pretty easy one to get started with. However, there may be some costs involved, but this does depend on your choice of platform and usually how many subscribers you have. You might be able to get started for free, but as you start to gain more traction and gain more subscribers on your mailing list, your costs may increase. So step number one is to start with an author website. We actually do have a video on creating an author website. I will leave a link to that in the description, but you'll want to provide a place for people to sign up for your mailing list on your website. You want to make this page easy to find, ideally having the option on the home page or on your author about page. Many authors also include a note to register for their mailing lists and details how at the end of their book. Step number two is to choose your mailing list platform. MailChimp is probably the most popular one and is free while you have less than 2,000 subscribers and don't send more than 12,000 emails a month. From there, prices start to vary depending on features you want and how many subscribers you have. It's a pretty easy platform if you're just getting started, and it's probably the most widely used. But there are lots of mailing list hosting platforms out there for you to check out, so it's totally worth doing your research before you commit to one. Some others that you can look at are things like MailWeber, MailPoet, which is a WordPress plugin, MailerLite Campaign Monitor, ConvertKit, and TinyLetter, which is a simpler MailChimp product. And honestly, many more. There's so many out there, so read some articles, do some comparisons, and figure out which one you think will be best for you. Step number three is to create a lead magnet. Now that you've set up your website and people can actually sign up for your mailing list, you have to entice them to actually sign up for it. Now, some people will of course just sign up because they like your work, but many people are very conscious of how many emails they get. So a great way to get people to sign up is with a lead magnet. This is something that you offer people in exchange for them registering. It's like a perk. Many authors offer the first chapter or first few chapters of their book as a free download for new subscribers. But if you have several books published, you can actually use one from your backlist and just offer a free ebook of the entire book for new subscribers. Especially if the book is old and not really getting many sales anyways, leveraging that into promoting your mailing list and then promoting your new releases might be a good use for it at this stage in your career. Some authors even write entire novellas or short stories that they use as lead magnets for their mailing list. Another way to gain subscribers is through giveaways. We've actually got a full interview with Derek Murphy, who used this strategy to great success, so I'll leave the blog post below with that webinar as well as the written summary of his points in the description. The idea is basically that if you're early in your career, readers aren't actually that interested in receiving free samples of your work because they're not invested in your work yet. It might sound a little brutal, but it's probably true. So you have to give away something else that appeals to them. A great option would be a package of best-selling or popular books in your genre. You have to make sure the prize is something that people are, of course, genuinely interested in. Plus, if you give away books by other authors who have active platforms, it's likely that they'll share the giveaway on their platform, which can help get you some exposure for your mailing list. This can even help you just genuinely connect with other writers and build connections. There are several more steps involved with this, but basically the idea is just that you're using a giveaway as a lead magnet rather than your own writing. It's a bit more of a detailed process, so I won't get into the whole thing now since we've got a separate post and a separate interview on it, and I want to keep this focused, but it is definitely an option worth checking out. You also want to drive traffic to your website, since that's where people are going to be signing up to your mailing list. Post compelling content or resources on your website, such as useful blog posts on writing or publishing, and see if you can guest post or cross-promote with other writers who have blogs or podcasts. You also want to offer exclusive content on your mailing list. If someone has a mailing list, but I know that everything they share in their mailing list I can get elsewhere, I'm probably not going to sign up for their mailing list because it's just extra emails that I'm getting, and people these days are very conscious of how many emails they get. You want to offer something exclusive to the mailing list. Though your end goal is probably going to be to inform people news about your book so they buy your book, in the meantime, because you're probably not publishing a book, you know, every single month. You need to offer some other kind of content to keep readers engaged. There are going to be people who unsubscribe from your mailing list. This is pretty much inevitable. So you do have to be consistently putting in work to keep your subscribers as well as to gain new ones. Whether you're sending out exclusive samples or pieces of your writing or useful resources for them, find ways to actively engage with your mailing list and keep them opening your emails. Once you have your mailing list up and running, here are some things to keep in mind. First of all, only email people on topics that they actually signed up to receive emails about. Many services like MailChimp allow you to create different groups within your mailing list, so you can manage that if there are several topics you want to send out newsletters on, you won't be sending these newsletters to people who want to hear about something else entirely. Remember, people are likely to unsubscribe if they keep getting emails from you about topics that they didn't sign up to receive emails about. And finally, a very common question is how often should you send out emails to your mailing list subscribers? It depends. There's no rule, but there's definitely a balance to be struck. Often enough that people don't forget who you are, but not so often that they get overwhelmed with emails and stop opening them. Again, I think I've said this about 5 times in this video, but many people are very sensitive about the amount of emails they get. It's hard for me to keep up with any kind of daily newsletter. There are very few, I don't even think any daily newsletters that I actually manage to keep up with beyond like the first 2 weeks. Weekly I find is much more manageable. So many authors aim to send out a newsletter around once a month, and then slowly increase that frequency if they're working towards a book launch. So you might go twice a month in the few months before your book launch, and then once a week, and then maybe even say daily the week leading up to your launch. So that is how to create a mailing list. I'll leave a bunch more resources for you to check out both on mailing lists and just on book marketing in general. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos from us. We've got new writing, editing, and publishing tips every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time.